Hi guys, it's time for another FineScale Modeler Weekly. This episode we're taking off with Dora Wings 1/48 scale Vultee Vanguard.
Designed as a fighter, the Vanguard spent most of its U.S. service as a trainer.
Sweden ordered them, but the U.S. blocked its deliveries. The aircraft saw combat with the Chinese Nationalist Air Arm against the Japanese.
Surface detail on the major airframe parts is first-rate with fine recessed panel lines and rivets. The full-span lower half of the wing incorporates part of the belly, and the ailerons, rudder, and elevators are separate.
Cockpit detail includes the floor, frames, rear bulkhead and seat, instrument panel, and controls. Up front, inside a multi-part cowl with single-part front ring, sits a detailed engine with separate pushrod covers, ignition harness, and exhaust. Engine supports will be visible through the gear openings.
A photo-etch metal fret supplies an optional instrument panel, cowl flaps, gear bay details, and the seat belt. Clear plastic gives the windshield, sliding canopy, and optional rear sections, as well as lights, and pre-cut masks are included. Nicely printed decals give stencils, instrument dials, and markings for 4 aircraft. A Vanguard Mark I in Royal Air Force markings in California in 1940, a natural metal Swedish J-10, also in California in 1940, and a pair of what-if fighters camouflaged as if in Swedish service during the war.
Although it wasn't built in large numbers or the best fighter of World War II, the Vanguard represents the war's early days when the Allies were willing to consider everything and anything.
So it's great to see a 1/48 scale injection molded plastic kit of this plane.
In 1964, Aurora introduced a series of kits under the line Chamber of Horrors, including this Guillotine.
Now, I'm willing to bet that this kit was a hit with teenage boys everywhere.
But the reaction from parents and others was not so favorable, and the line ended with the Guillotine.
The kit was re-released by Polar Lights a couple of times, and now it's back, this time in a special art box edition from Doll and Hobby, Georgia.
The device features a base, uprights, cap, stocks, and the blade with rollers.
To support the condemned, there's a frame for the sliding platform. A wicker look basket is here to catch the head. Clear color photos complement the instruction diagrams, and helpful advice is offered like adding blood spatters, drips, and streaks for dramatic effect.
Thread is given to rig the Guillotine, and there is a double-sided backdrop that expands the cover art or places the device inside a dungeon.
Did we mention that this thing is operational?
Yep, you can release the blade and it'll plummet, knocking the figure's head off and into the basket.
This thing is definitely a blast from the past with all kinds of nostalgia attached to it.
Probably not for everyone, but hey, build what you like.
Yeah, and I'm sure if your folks didn't let you get one in the 1960s, here's your chance to build one. FineScale Modeler presents Great Scale Modeling 2023. 100 pages of photos from some of the biggest model shows of 2022. Grab your copy today at combachobbystore.com and be inspired.
Here are a couple of recent books we thought you might be interested in.
Let's start with Wayne Mutza's The U.S. Air Force Air Rescue Service.
This massive hardcover, all 288 pages, from Schiffer traces the history of the Air Rescue Service, from its origins in World War II within the U.S. Army Air Corps, and the development of specialist equipment after, through Korea, the Cold War, and Vietnam to today. The book features hundreds of photos of the aircraft used in all kinds of settings, and is a great tribute to the ingenuity of getting people out of trouble.
The other book comes from prolific Polish publisher Kagero, number 8 in its kit build series, Lockheed F-104 Starfighter. With text in both Polish and English, the book features builds of Kinetic's 1/48 scale F-104G and Hasegawa's 1/72 scale F-104J, including step-by-step photos. Color profiles round out the package.
These are more great references to add to your bookshelf.
And really, who doesn't need more books? I have so many books at home, it's ridiculous. It's almost outweighing the number of kits I have. Finally, let's take a look at Academy's 1/144 scale F-14A.
First, we should note that this is not the same as the old Academy 1/144 scale Tomcat that has also been released under the Hobbycraft label.
Which is not an especially great or accurate kit.
Rather, it's the same plastic that was previously released under the Revell branding.
which is a nice kit with relatively petite panel lines, movable wings, a decent cockpit for the scale with separate panels and seats, good landing gear and bays, and air-to-air missiles. The canopy is a single part.
Although the kit is marked for VF-84 Jolly Rogers, the decals supply markings for one of that squadron's aircraft in 1980 and one from VF-24 fighting Renegades in 1988.
It's a nice little kit that builds into a good replica and doesn't take up a whole lot of space.
Look for reviews of the Vanguard, Guillotine, and Tomcat on FineScale.com.
Which is a great place to go for how-to information like these downloadable PDF snapshots about using a wet palette.
And go to KalmbachHobbyStore.com for gifts, tools, and more. FineScale Modeler Weekly is brought to you by HobbyZone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs. And by Cult TV Man's Hobby Shop, the place to go for science fiction and fantasy kits, details, masks, decals, and more.
On Tooling Around, let's talk about magnification. Now, you may be thinking, my eyesight's just fine, I don't need a magnifier. Or maybe you're nearsighted and it's really easy, like I am, and it's really easy to see things up close. It's when it's far away that it gets difficult. Thing is about magnification is that it's an aid. And a lot of the things that we look to use at the workbench make things easier for us. So magnification isn't so much of a crutch as it is as useful. And what it does, I've found, is help prevent eye fatigue, and it actually makes my modeling better. So there are a number of different options when it comes to magnification at the workbench, and this isn't going to be an exhaustive list, but we just thought that maybe if you haven't thought about it, we'd go ahead and show you a couple of examples. And the first one, the easiest one probably to get a hold of, is a third hand with a magnifier, right? So this is a personal one from my house. What's nice is, again, it's a third hand, so I've got clamps that I can use for other things, but I do have this magnifier on here, and I got this little figure. I can just show you right here. See, it comes, here's the fig, magnified. So as you can see, it blows it up. I really like this because, you know, for quick down and dirty painting, right? Where I don't need to use something more extensive. I just want to look at something, maybe I'm going to do a correction, right? Or I'm just going to touch up a detail. What I really like about the magnifier on the third hand is that it is extremely portable, right? I can bring it out, I can do my job that I'm going to do, and then I can put it away, out of sight, out of mind. Another option that you have for magnification at the workbench is maybe a step up from the magnifier on the third hand, and that is something like this. A desk lamp that also has a magnifier in it. And as you can see, so down here, if you get too far away from the magnifier, it's not particularly useful, right? But you bring it up to this point here, and you're able to see that it does quite the job, right, of magnifying whatever it is that you're working on. Now, what I like about this is that, again, it's pretty portable. I allow my kids to use this one because it's light, it's pretty sturdy, and if something were to happen to it, it's not super expensive to replace, right? But it's super useful if you've got a very small area, you know, small workbench that you're working in. You just bring this in. It has its own self-contained light, and the magnifier, very nice. A step up from that kind of lamp is a larger magnifying lamp. This guy right here, yeah? So this one is older than I am, probably, but you can find similar ones online from a host of manufacturers, probably ranging from about $50 up through over $100, right? And what I like about this, this lamp in particular, is that you can move it around wherever you need it to go, right? And then when you're done, you need to just have it stowed. You can put it back over there, you can do your work, and then you can bring it right on back again. Now, magnifier, I've got a big LED lamp in here. It originally came with a fluorescent one. I replaced it a while back. But I've got an LED lamp in here. It will provide plenty of light. I've used this magnifier on a whole host of miniatures. So what I like using this lamp for are jobs where it's easy for me to have my hands down here like this, or my work is down on the workbench itself, where I'm not having to hold anything up. Now, obviously, the lamp is going to be able to do that. I don't want to blast it right at you guys, but you know, I mean, it's positionable, right? So if you were working on, you know, rigging on a ship or something like that, where you're up like this, you can definitely do that. But for me, the preferred position with this lamp is something down like this. Lots of light, and it's just comfortable for me. With that said, another option would be to do away with the lamps altogether and go with something that you wear on your head. Like this Donegan Optical Optivisor. And you can see it there. I'm gonna put it on my head now. So what's nice about the Optivisor is that, well, obviously you wear it on your head, right? So it's going to go wherever you look. But, now, I know you're laughing, and that's fine. You can, look, we're at the workbench, and we're not trying to win any fashion awards here, right? It's all about magnification. But what's nice is, as you can see, I'm wearing my glasses, and because this band is just, you know, tightened to my head like a hat, I can just pull this down, and my glasses are right there, and then I can just get to work. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to get used to when wearing something that's mounted to your head like this is that you're gonna have to bring whatever it is that you're working on within a certain distance. Too far away and it'll get blurry, right? So that's just something that you're gonna have to pay attention to. Now, one of the nice things also about the Optivisor is that while this comes with a 2x lens here, you can go to Donegan and purchase other magnifications all the way up to 7x, I believe. Now, similarly to this Optivisor is a more glasses-looking approach to magnification. I bought this one at Amazon. There are a number of companies that make similar glasses for magnification. Eschenbach is one that you're probably familiar with, a German company that they make these sorts of magnifiers and even lamp magnifiers as well for medical professionals. In any case, I don't like to wear, I mean, I can wedge, I can keep my glasses on, and then I can also put these over the top. I don't like doing that. So take these off, put these guys on, and now, I like this probably a little bit more than the Optivisor. I mean, I just like the freedom, right? The Optivisor kind of has that cap sort of thing that goes on. Aaron prefers the Optivisor. I like these. What I really liked about this set, though, is that it also came with a number of different lenses, from 1x all the way up to 3.5x. And it's real easy. You just take a lens out of the carrying case. You just kind of click it in. And then, just like with the Optivisor, and again, yes, we're not trying to win any fashion awards. just trying to magnify what I'm working on. Same sort of thing though with these. Same thing with these as with the Optivisor. You want to get to a certain distance away from the lens, right? Certain distance away from the lens, but then again, once you're comfortable, you can just go ahead and start working. What I like about these, as opposed to something like this lamp, is that if I'm working on a ship, I can get close. That was my phone. That was my phone, and you know what? These sorts of things happen from time to time, and that's okay. I'm gonna put this phone over there, it's on silence now. We're just gonna get through this. So, again, if I'm working on something like a ship or World War I plane or something along those lines, you can get right down where I need to be, and I don't have to worry about having this in between me and what I'm working on. And also, it's just very easy to look down or over and just use my eyes. I am nearsighted, as we discussed earlier, so when I'm working close, I can see pretty well what I'm looking on, but then it's very easy just to go from me looking at it to magnification. So those are just a few options for magnification that you have. Again, there are a number of different manufacturers. Go online, take a look around and see what it is that you might be interested in. And talk to some of your other modeling pals, because they might have some advice too. Do you need any of this? Nah. But magnification at the workbench is definitely a good idea. So what's up next?
Well, you and I traveled to Madison, Wisconsin to cover the Mad
We
City
did.
Modelers annual contest. Shot a bunch of photos.
We shot some video too.
Let's roll the tape.
Let's.
So, those were some good looking models, Tim.
They really were. Now, as Aaron said earlier, we shot photos of a bunch of these models at the show. If you're interested, go to the link below and take a look at the gallery. Otherwise,
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
see you later.
Backtrack.
I was trying to do my best
Infomercial voice.
Shatner.
I'm rambling, and I know I'm rambling. What I really like about the third hand magnifier. That's better than not having it on. You wouldn't know because you can't see, because you're blind.
The Mad
I'm gonna
City-
fall down.
All right, well, it's my show now to cover the Mad City Modeler show. It's not like you annoy me or anything.
You're not my dad.
FineScale Modeler presents.